7 continents, 7 giants. Think you know the biggest city on your continent? Let's test that. From McMurdo's few hundred to Tokyo's tens of millions, this countdown climbs from quiet outposts to roaring megacities. See where people cluster, why they grow, and which city rules each continent. Ready for the ride? Stick around to the very end. These are the most populated cities on every continent. From the very bottom of the world, we begin with Antarctica. There are no real cities here, only research stations clinging to the ice. The largest is McMurdo Station, a cluster of low buildings on the edge of Ross Island. In summer, roughly 1,000 people work, eat, and sleep there. In the long polar night, that number falls to only a couple hundred. No shopping streets, no freeways, just wind, snow, and the steady hum of generators. McMurdo is a reminder that humans can live almost anywhere, but not in huge crowds everywhere. Quick note on how we're counting. When we say city, we mean the greater metro or urban agglomeration. The city plus the suburbs and commuter belt that function as one. It's the way most people live a big city life. You might sleep in one district, work in another, and spend weekends across the ring road. City limit lines can be old and quirky, but metros tell the real story of scale. Now we jump to Oceania, where the title for largest metropolitan area is a photo finish between 2 Australian heavyweights. By one boundary, Melbourne briefly edged ahead, but by the official metro definition used nationwide, Sydney currently wears the crown with about 5.5 million people. Think of a sparkling harbor stitched to the city's daily life. Ferries cutting across coves, beaches folded into neighborhoods, suburban lines fanning out like spokes. Sydney's scale isn't about forests of super tall towers, it is the spread, families, commuters, and communities woven across ridges and shoreline. It is a big city that somehow still wears flip-flops. Zoom into the details and you see a polycentric giant. Parramatta rising as a second downtown, the spine of suburban rail pulling workers from leafy stations to office cores. Western Sydney is booming with new homes, new jobs, and a new airport on the horizon to match the city's growth curve. Sydney's size is less a vertical statement than a wide, lived-in canvas, where the harbor and the hills decide the shape of commutes and neighborhoods. Next stop is Europe, and it surprises many people. You might guess London or Paris, but the continent's largest metropolitan area is Moscow. Depending on how you draw the boundary lines, Moscow collects around 20 to 21.5 million people. Centuries of history tower over ultra-modern business districts. Grand boulevards open into vast residential zones. A famously intricate metro system threads beneath it all, moving millions every day. Moscow's size is felt not just in landmarks but in the endless everyday motion. Morning trains, market stalls, office towers, and apartment blocks stretching far past the city center. There's an order to the sprawl. The MCAD ring road wraps the city like a belt, while rail lines radiate outward, knitting suburb to center. Down below, stations gleam like palaces, mosaics, chandeliers, high arches, reminding riders that mass movement can still feel monumental. Winters are cold, but the machine keeps running. Insulated pipes, underground shopping passages, and a transit network that shrugs off snow and keeps a megacity on time. We fly across the Atlantic and drop into South America's heavyweight, São Paulo, Brazil. If you have never seen an ocean made of buildings, this is it. Greater São Paulo gathers roughly 23 million people in an urban fabric that both rises and sprawls. The skyline does not just go up, it rolls outward, a carpet of concrete and glass. Life here moves at speed, traffic can be thick, schedules can be packed, and opportunity is everywhere. Yet between the high rises, you find pockets of calm, neighborhood bakeries at dawn, leafy squares at midday, and football pitches glowing under floodlights at night. São Paulo is industry and art, hustle and heart all at once. Walk a little and the city changes accents. Liberdad's lanterns and izakayas recall Japanese roots. Paulista Avenue flips from finance by day to culture by night. Warehouse districts morph into galleries and music venues. New metro lines and bus corridors thread the mass together, shaving minutes off commutes in a place where minutes matter. The scale is intimidating until you realize it's also incredibly human, a million routines that somehow fit together. If you are enjoying the video, kindly like and subscribe. Now to Africa, where people have followed the Nile for thousands of years. Cairo remains the continent's most populous metropolitan area, with a little over 23 million residents. The Giza pyramids stand at the edge of an urban sea, ancient stones facing a modern tide of buses, billboards, satellite dishes, and a riverfront where the city exhales at dusk. Cairo is crowded, loud, and constantly in motion, but it is also intimate. Courtyards where neighbors share tea, narrow old streets where history whispers, and long river views that steady the pace. As Africa grows, many cities are rising fast. For now, Cairo still holds the crown. Cairo's geography is destiny. The river is the lifeline, the bridges are the bottlenecks, and the ring roads trace the edge where desert meets development. Markets tumble into the streets, microbuses dart between lanes, and the metro dives under traffic to keep the city breathing. It's a lesson in how megacities survive, by layering solutions, old and new, over the same stubborn constraints of space, time, and water. North America's giant may surprise you. It is not New York, it is Mexico City. Built on the foundations of the Mexica capital, this metropolis now counts roughly 25 million people across its vast urban area, denser, broader, and yes, bigger than New York by population. Mexico City is a stack of eras, ancient canals, colonial plazas, modern museums, and contemporary skylines layered together. There are challenges, air quality, traffic, earthquakes, but resilience runs deep. From mariachi and Garibaldi to markets spilling color onto every block, the city's pulse is unmistakable, a steady beat that binds old traditions to new ambitions. Look close and you spot the secrets of its scale. The basin encircles the city like a bowl, focusing growth inward and outward along the valley's ridges. Metro lines, some shallow, some deep, carry millions daily, while bus rapid transit carves express paths through dense corridors. On the edges, new suburbs spring up. In the core, historic streets get a fresh coat without losing their bones. The recipe is density plus ingenuity, refined over centuries of reinvention. And then, the boss level, Asia. Tokyo is not just the largest city in Asia, it is the largest in the world. Depending on where you place the boundary lines, the greater Tokyo area gathers around 37 million people, more souls than many countries. Yet it works with astonishing grace. Trains slide in on the second, crowds flow like water, and a tiny ramen shop can become a city-wide legend. Neon spills over quiet alleyways. Skyscrapers sit beside pocket parks no bigger than a living room. The magic of Tokyo is balance, precision and warmth, speed and courtesy, everything scaled up yet somehow still personal. Tokyo is a woven ring of centers. The Yamanote line loops like a necklace, linking Shinjuku's mountain of towers, Shibuya's scramble of screens, and Ikebukuro's retail maze. Stations are cities of their own. Groceries, clinics, bookstores, and bento spots stacked upstairs and underground. You can step off a rush hour train into a side street so quiet you hear your footsteps. That's the paradox that keeps Tokyo moving. Giant systems built to deliver small, everyday moments with almost absurd reliability. Let us rewind the ascent in one breath, because the story is in the scale. We began with Antarctica's McMurdo Station, hundreds to about 1,000 people, a scientific foothold on the edge of the possible. We stepped into Sydney, around 5.5 million, a harbor city whose lifestyle is nearly as famous as its skyline. We surged to Moscow, roughly 20 to 21.5 million, a continental capital where deep history meets modern muscle. We pushed into São Paulo, about 23 million, a megacity that stretches farther than the eye can see. We flowed through Cairo, just over 23 million, ancient and urgent. We crossed into Mexico City, roughly 25 million, a layered metropolis built on legend and lakebed. And we finished in Tokyo, an urban universe of around 37 million, moving with precision at colossal scale. What do these places tell us about ourselves? People gather where connection creates opportunity. Harbors, rivers, and crossroads became engines. Culture, jobs, and ideas did the rest. These giants are not just big, they are blueprints for how we live, move, trade, learn, and solve problems together. As Africa and Asia surge, new players will climb the ranks, and the tools we build, faster trains, smarter grids, greener streets, will decide how well these places work for everyone. Which city surprised you most? And where would you spend a week exploring? Tell me in the comments. If you learned something new on this journey from smallest to biggest, please like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next countdown. Share this with a friend who loves maps and megacities, and I will see you in the next episode.